questions that I pose before we introduce our panelists this evening. Number one, which of course is freebie, smart politics but bad economics. Well, that's an easy one. The second question which we raise, welfare versus freebies, where is that line? How does that one define that line? Freebies against free and fair elections, because ultimately if cash for votes is banned, then freebies comes in a very, very grey area. And how long can political parties justify the rising debt for freebies? Has any state successfully been able to move away from the freebie culture while maintaining electoral success? And should there be now a constitutional limit on how much a state can borrow for welfare schemes? Let's take these questions to our guests this evening. Mahima Singh, National Spokesperson, Congress, joining us. Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, National Spokesperson, BJP. Ranjit Sethi, political commentator. Ashutosh, author and political analyst. Mahima Singh, the question is, I can play that reaction of Revanth Reddy now, where he's clearly said, and I quote Mahima Singh, that at the back of the guarantees, he's saying, I'm paying for my guarantees, but I can't pay for my debt. Where he also goes on to say that I can't really pay for my capital expenditure. That means development is suffering in the state of Telangana at the cost of the guarantees that you promised. This admittance is coming in from your own Chief Minister, Mahima Singh, who's made it very clear that forget about everything else. What one really needs to discuss, instead of getting into the race of, competitive populism, is how to end it.
Jai Hind. Preeti, in fact, I was listening to the whole clip you played of our Honorable Chief Minister of Telangana, Mr. Revanth Reddy, and I think he personified what lies at the center of Congress politics, and that is a value called integrity. And integrity tells welfareism from the freebies. The freebie culture, the competitive populism that the likes of the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party have pushed this country to is, of course, it's become endemic to our economy today. In fact, I would say it's not wrong to say that Prime Minister Modi has brought our country to a place where developmental economics has taken a backseat, and divisive propaganda is right at the center of it, cutting short our investments and the economic development on the world scale. What we are talking about here is what we call in Hindi saaf goi. Revanth Reddy ji ne badi saaf goi se baat ki, Preeti, and I would say that it takes courage and it takes only a congressman to speak with that clarity and transparency as Mr. Revanth Reddy did. So yes, we are accepting and admitting the problem. You would remember Mr. Kharge had addressed the government of Karnataka earlier, few months ago, and talked about this and had urged them to find a tactful solution to the problem that's facing us.
But Mahima Singh, that's the double-edged sword. You're saying that it's the ethos of the Congress, but the man in question is the Chief Minister, one of the three that you have, who's made it very clear that he is paying for his guarantees. He has no money to pay for his debt. His debt is only rising. He has no money to invest. He's openly saying that. And I'll come back to you. I'll circle back to you on that question.
Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, hold on. Allow me an intervention because you've made that point.
Make your point.
Let me come to the second part of my response, Preeti, which is the stepsisterly treatment that the union government is giving to the states, especially ruled by the non-BJP governments. You would also remember the Karnataka protest that was staged in the capital of Delhi, which was totally ignored by the Prime Minister and the union government. So you see, we are living in a country where the union government, double engine sarkar so-called, goes on undermining the federal structure of this country. So we have got to accept it, admit it, and strategically deal with it.
Okay. All right. I'm going to circle back to you. Stay with me. I want to bring in Syed Zafar Islam, Dr. Zafar Islam. One can say it's endemic to only Congress states, but that's not really true. Or the Aam Aadmi Party, which many say was one of the pioneers of the freebie culture, especially when it comes down to free electricity, water and all of that. But Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, the big question now is, look at what's happened today in the Maharashtra State Assembly. Leave alone raising what you promised, because you promised a direct cash transfer under the Ladki Bahin Yojana from what is now 1,500 to 2,100 rupees. Clearly, that's not happening. Number two, Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, is that you're also cut 10,000 crores in that funding, where it comes down to the Ladki Bahin Yojana. The rules and regulation on who's eligible has become only stricter where the fine print is concerned. So there is an understanding.
Let me respond to your question, Preeti. First of all, India is a welfare state, and affirmative action is must for the welfare of the people of the state or the people of the country. So every government has to discharge that responsibility, irrespective of what the overall objective of the government, but within the means of the resources what they have at their disposal. The Honorable Prime Minister have undertaken several welfare schemes, and still, if you see the fiscal deficit number is only following the fiscal discipline, and the fiscal deficit number is coming off significantly, better than the state is expecting India to indicate their fiscal deficit number, but we have done better than that. So that only suggests that we are ensuring that capital expenditure number, if you see what the Revanth Reddy was saying, our capital expenditure is rising every year after year, year after year. Even this year budget, if you see the B number, you will see that there is a 10% allocation have been made more compared to last year revised estimate numbers. So that only suggests that the capital expenditure is important, and that's why we are investing for creating infrastructure for development of programs, and also ensuring the welfare scheme of the common man on the street. That's why we are distributing ration. We are distributing many other welfare schemes without ignoring the maths of the budget. So every decision has been taken based on understanding the maths and doing the budgetary allocation.
Allow me for a counter. It seems where you see the state deficit is on which side of the treasury bench you actually sit on, be it the state assembly or the parliament. But the question that I want to ask you say the capital expenditure in rising. I'll give you two states which are BJP-run states, the state of Madhya Pradesh, where the capital expenditure has fallen, sir. So it's not true.
No, I'm coming to that state. Now, as far as the state is concerned, I'm sure that the government is very clear that they have to follow the fiscal discipline. Any allocation, where they are making any announcement, they are making any welfare scheme which they are announcing, they must do the maths first, budgetary maths, and then made the announcement. That's why we have done in every state before the election. Whatever announcement we have made, we know exactly how much the budgetary allocation to be made, and exactly accordingly the announcement has been made. Yes, the stricter norms should be there, because it is not that when we have said that Ladki Bahin is for the women of the state, that doesn't mean that everyone should get. Only the eligible ones should get. Okay. You and I don't, likewise, like you would not expect the government to pay 1,500 or 2,500 in Delhi, since you live in Delhi and I live in Delhi, or I live in Bombay. My family will not expect that 2,100 or 1,500 should come to their account, because it is meant as affirmative action and meant for the welfare of the people who truly deserve. So it is for the needy, not for a generic purpose. That's why.
But you did promise the needy 2,500. You've decided you can't do that, so it's 1,500 for now. And you did tell the BJP.
No. You have to also make the statement or give the correct picture that we have said gradually it will be increased. So it's not going to stick to remain 1,500, but it will gradually increase.
All right. I want to bring in our two other guests, Ashutosh, author and political analyst, and Rajat Sethi. Ashutosh, one would say that maybe it was the Aam Aadmi Party that triggered the widespread, populism that we see. But before that, it was there in southern states of a different kind. Then even in West Bengal, I think the first direct cash transfer actually started under Mamata Banerjee. But where does the buck stop, Ashutosh, now? Because there's seemingly an understanding. Everyone can see it, but who's going to say it? You finally had the Telangana chief minister who put his hands up and said, I can't spend on capital expenditure.
See, Preeti, this logic doesn't work that if I am committing a sin, so rest also should follow. It's something like this. This Aam Aadmi Party has started, so BJP should also do it. Congress should also do it. Samajwadi Party, BSP, everybody should do that, knowing fully well that it's a sin. That logic is a very comfortable logic, because everybody wants to win election. And I'm sorry, I don't agree with the BJP spokesperson in talking about the affirmative. This is not affirmative action. This is basically a direct bribery scheme. let me repeat again. This is a direct bribery scheme. That's all. Did BJP in Maharashtra say that we will be having an eligibility criteria for the women? तब तो बड़ी शोर से लोग कह रहे थे हम सारी महिलाओं को इज्जत देंगे, सारी महिलाओं को पैसे देंगे. अब कह रहे हैं 2100 नहीं दे सकते, 1500 देंगे. You know, the fact of the matter is whether it is the BJP government in Maharashtra or Congress government in Telangana and Karnataka, both are committing sin for the country. And I'm saying this with great emphasis. Why this is sin? Because everybody knows the global economy today is going to tumble like anything. The tariff war is going to create in the global economy, is going to create a havoc. And what is happening with India? Right now, when I'm talking to you, the net FDI in 2024-25 has come down to $14.5 billion, which is 12-year low. And the Indian companies are flying their cash from India to parking their cash in some other countries. So neither the Indian companies have trust and confidence in India's economy, nor the foreigners have trust and within that, you are also already facing the tariff war. Now the issue is, this is the time when all the political parties should come together on a platform, whether the BJP, Congress, or anybody, should discuss threadbare in the parliament or outside, should find out certain guidelines that this is going to kill the economy of the country. But if the party interest is above the national interest, then obviously everybody will say, since Aam Aadmi Party has done it, so I'm also going to commit the same sin. This is a hypocrisy of the highest order. And unfortunately, the political class in this country is way ahead in this race of hypocrisy.
Well, you know, seemingly, Rajat Sethi, it's great politics, terrible economics, if you look at it. The Prime Minister, who increasingly criticized the revelry culture, the BJP succumbed to it, understanding the political atmosphere and the climate. Rajat Sethi, you know, if one really jogs their memory, you can actually, maybe, I think the only example one can give, and I've been trying to do that and add more if you can, it's only possibly the state of Kerala under the left, where they've not outrightly given out freebies and yet seemingly maintained power when it comes down politically.
See, let's not pick one example, because those examples would require greater deal of studies as to what all freebies and in what camouflage are those freebies given in the state of Kerala. I'm not even getting into that. See, while responsible fiscal policies is an underlined policy measure that all state governments should follow, let me tell you, we are trying to over-sensationalize this entire topic of freebies. The entire poor economics of Nobel laureate Abhijit Banerjee was pivoted around the fact that you need to have poor people having cash in hand. Basic income structures have been debated around the world. Lot of countries around the world have adopted this because of the technological advancements that have happened, that you can actually give away cash handouts to poor people, because that kickstarts the consumption engine and therefore kickstarts the economy. It's not per se problematic. And you can get economists, not politicians, on the show to discuss the economic merits and demerits of this. The real problem is, largely speaking, when these politicians in respective states go out much beyond what their fiscal elbow room allows them to do. See, there is good economics at the center, and successive central governments have ensured that the FRBM is respected to a great extent. Wherever they have to go past the FRBM limits, they need to go out and announce in the parliament. They need to tell them that, see, our fiscal deficit numbers are going to go, and these are the XYZ extraordinary reasons. And then in every budget speech, there is a glide path to say that we have to meet the fiscal prudence. The real problem is that there is no state capacity in the state level. There are no good economists, no good policy wonks working at respective state levels. They go out and promise things which they can't even finance. Now, again, I'm not saying per se this problem of cash handouts to women is a wrong thing, because in all likelihood, this goes into improving HDIs, the Human Development Index. These women save money, tend to send their students, children to schools, better tuition, better access to green vegetables, all of that go into HDI. So let's not throw the baby along the bathwater. We need to understand where the real problem is coming. The real problem is, how do you balance capital investment with revenue investment and look at the whole picture from a much more economist perspective. Do not get
Rajat,
politicians come in and speak on topics which they don't
but
understand.
today it is a political debate because with what happened in the
So
Maharashtra
fine, but you
Assembly,
will
and I
not get
agree with
answers
you,
from
it's an
politicians.
economic debate. I agree with you in that aspect that it needs to be debated economically, but whoever has debated economically clearly understands that this is going nowhere. Because what you spoke of right now, and I have it, there are only two states, Rajat Sethi, that have actually reduced their fiscal deficit, Gujarat and West Bengal. Other than that, be it a BJP-run state or a Congress-run state or any other political, outfit, be it the Aam Aadmi Party, all states have only increased their fiscal deficit.
No, fair enough. Again, I'm saying that if a state like Gujarat, which is able to attract investments, has that fiscal elbow room to further refine, if all the other needs of Human Development Index have been met, they can as well reach to those state fiscal responsibility metrics rather sooner. These states are going to stand out because they won't be bankrupt. Half the other Indian states are bankrupt. And on that bankruptcy, on top of the bankruptcy, you cannot come out with irresponsible doles. That is the clear message.
Ashutosh wanted to come in for a rebuttal quick there, and I go back to Mahima Singh.
The entire state of India in the same brush.
All right, Ashutosh, you wanted to come in quickly, and then I go across back to Mahima Singh and Dr. Zafar Islam.
See, Preeti, I think we are not willing to face the real issue. The real issue is that these doles are not given to empower women, to create demand in the society. Now, it's not that that's the intent. The intent is 3 months before the election, 5 months before the election, 6 months before the election, you announce this and try to get certain installment in the women's account so that the women feel gratitude, feel very obliged and vote for the party. That's the dishonesty. So we are talking about affirmative action and all kinds of things. What rubbish! Don't you forget that in Maharashtra what happened? 3 installments were given and the Maharashtra elections were not announced along with the Haryana elections. Election Commission never answered the questions. The issue is this. So what is the intent? I understand that and this demand business, India is facing for the last 6-7 years. After demonetization, the demand has never gone up. It has never gone up. And that's the basic problem. Manufacturing sector is going down every year and every quarter. So if you are only focusing on giving doles, not robusting your economy, not going to the fundamentals of the economy, not addressing them, and you're only talking about hum to ye denge, phir wo denge, and then you bring the eligibility criteria, slashing the budget for the women. What rubbish is happening? So first of all, please address the fundamentals of the economy, and the country is facing a grave crisis, and this government has failed to do that.
Okay, Mahima Singh, the competitive populism that we spoke of, Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi declares direct cash transfer to women. The Congress ups it to 25. The BJP feels the heat, announces a similar package. Now you're going into Bihar, and I'm sure exactly the guarantee scheme is going to be the same playbook. Correct, ma'am?
Let me give you an example, Preeti. You remember how the Congress was governing the state of Rajasthan. And you would also remember we were giving cylinders worth 500 rupees each to every citizen of Rajasthan. Comes the BJP announcing a scheme, 450 rupees per cylinder. And when they form the government, they announce it's only for Ujjwala Labharthis. It's not for everybody. That is welfareism versus freebies. Now, somebody was saying before me that politicians should not talk about economics. Well, let me just say, if you're looking at economics in isolation of politics, I think that's the most frivolous mistake somebody analyzing politics could be making. Now, coming to the crisis that Mr. Ashutosh was talking about, and I would say, yes, that is the exact crisis Mr. Revanth Reddy, having the integrity sitting right at the center of his whole narrative, has talked about, has addressed, has accepted. But unfortunately, Preeti, the union government, the union finance minister, not only conveniently continues to be in denial of it, but also...
But Mahima Singh, you're saying, before I go to the BJP spokesperson, I want to ask you a very clear question. So you admit that your chief minister, with what he said, is actually speaking the truth. So the guarantee business that the Congress offers then is in contradiction to what Mr. Revanth Reddy said.
Not at all. And why would I say at all that what he said
because
is
what he says, what he said, ma'am, let me tell, we have a smaller, I have a smaller clip of the same. Hear that out, and I'll come back to you. We're going to just play that. All right, we're going to play that in just...
Carefully. I mean...
Go ahead and make your point, ma'am.
Yeah, so when you played the entire clip initially, and before that also, of course, we heard his entire narrative in your conclave, but we also saw his tweets about his meeting the Prime Minister and the Jal Shakti Minister and the other ministers, urging them that please, act in favor of Telangana and other states and the federal structure of this country. He's talked to them about schemes, but let's see how the union government will take it up.
Okay, let's listen in to what Revanth Reddy said, and I'll go back to the...
Allow me to just complete what we are saying.
Hold that thought, I'll come back to you. Let's listen in to Revanth Reddy once again.
How are you going to pay for the guarantees? 4,000 rupees to unemployed youth.
सही सवाल पूछा राजदीप जी. आप जो गलतफहमी में था, मैं भी वही गलतफहमी 3.75 लाख करोड़ डेब्ट से ये जो इनकम है इसके हिसाब से हम कुछ कर सकते हैं. मगर कुर्सी में बैठने के बाद असली रूप हमें पता लग गया.
Come on, yes. Chief Minister is telling us that you realized only after you became Chief Minister that you can't pay for your guarantees.
Not guarantees. Repayment of loans. I'm not saying that I'm not going to pay for guarantees. I'm not able to repay for my guarantees.
All right, Mahima Singh, he's not able to repay for his guarantees. That's what he said.
He is not able to repay the debts. That is exactly what he said, as he illustrates further what he meant.
Which
and let me just
funds the guarantees?
Hold on, Preeti, allow me to complete.
Make your point.
You see, it takes a congressman, I will repeat it with great sense of humility and pride at the same time. It takes a congressman to accept and address the crises that's facing our country. Tell me one prime minister of the...
Ma'am, exactly, that's the exact question I asked you. You understand and accept there is a crisis that is facing the country, yes or no?
The country, and he's urging that we go for an all-party meet.
I'm glad the Congress accepts there's a crisis despite doling out guarantees. And Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, I know you're laughing, but ultimately it's the same thing where the BJP comes into question. Look what's happening in Maharashtra. Look how the fine print in Delhi is being changed as we speak when it comes down to the direct cash transfer to women.
Unfortunately, Mr. Trump is
allow him, please allow him. Syed Zafar Islam.
I think you have to differentiate between us and the other desperate political parties who have been out of power, and they made a commitment, announcement, something which they know that they will not be able to honor it. Take the case of Himachal Pradesh.
Please allow him to speak.
Take the case of Himachal Pradesh. They made tall promises, but they failed to deliver it. Likewise, in Telangana, the Chief Minister himself is admitting that he made tall promises. He is not able to. He didn't even study the budget and the fiscal condition of the state, because he said that I didn't know that how much loan the state.
Sir, I can give you 3 examples of your own run state: Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra.
Let me just complete. No, what you are talking about, Maharashtra? Maharashtra made a statement. They made a statement that we will honor this commitment, but of course not. It's
then
for
why
everyone.
Criticize the Aam Aadmi Party for its promises in Punjab? They also said we will honor our promise.
So I'm not saying, I didn't say even once Aam Aadmi Party, or for that matter Congress Party, or that matter any other party which is making announcement, making this kind of promises. They must study the fiscal situation of the state, and only then, like the Chief Minister is making the statement that he didn't know how much loan to be serviced. And only when he became the Chief Minister, he realized that he has to service the debt of 3.75 lakh crore.
So you might want to think that you're different, but when it comes down to the paper and we take away which state is run by which political outfit, it all looks the same. And I'd be very honest, Saver too, and I gave you the example of Gujarat. Final comments, Rajat Sethi, you've been wanting to come in, and then I'll go across to Ashutosh. Rajat Sethi first.
This is why this was the real reason I said at least have economically aware politicians. You cannot have a politician who stands up and say that, oh, I faked because I didn't have the right information before 5 crore people of the state of Telangana. That is criminal. Okay. Now, that is point number 1. The other point that you are trying to make is, ma'am, please allow me to speak. You need to have people who are held responsible. These politicians cannot go out recklessly throwing freebies at the voters. That is where the real problem is. In 2019 and in 2024, in 2019, we heard from Rahul Gandhi that 72,000 rupees will be given every household. Now, that is gigantic amount of money, and any reporter who used to ask him or anybody around him as to how are you going to finance 72,000 rupees annually? And he had no answer. Even in this current election in 2024, he said that this khatakhat rupees, 7 or 8,000 or 11,000 rupees to every single individual who's unemployed. I mean, how on earth are you trying to come out with that promise? Therefore, in every run-up to the election, there should be a balance sheet that should be provided by the political parties as to how they are going to balance the both the sides of the balance sheet when they are making some promises. At least then they will know that, okay.
You know, the double speak has been both sides of the divide. You're right with what Rahul Gandhi said, but on the other hand, you have the Prime Minister as well, who outrightly criticized the Revdi culture, and now the BJP is doing exactly the same. The enormity might be different in terms of the promises, but the intent is exactly the same. It's plain double speak. Doctors, Ashutosh, quick comments?
Allow me
Closing comments.
I just want to bring out Mr. Narendra Modi's statement given on 16 July 2022 in Jalaun. And it's very interesting. What did he say? He said the Revdi culture would take the new India towards darkness. It's very dangerous. There are some governments which are indulging in Revdi culture to secure votes. So what I was saying is, probably I was inspired by the Prime Minister himself. So I fail to understand if BJP government gives promises 2,100 rupees to women in Maharashtra, that is a welfare scheme. If promises in Delhi 2,500, it's a welfare scheme. But if Aam Aadmi Party does 1,000 in Punjab, that's Revdi. If Revanth Reddy promises some rupees to women in Telangana, that is Revdi. So the issue is, let's be honest about it.
Okay.
If the Prime Minister knew, if Prime Minister knew that this Revdi culture will take country to the dark ages, then why let his own party do the same thing?
All right. 20 seconds, Mahima Singh, and 20 seconds, Mr. Islam. Mahima Singh, 20 seconds, ma'am. Go. Closing
I just
comments.
want to cite a small example, Preeti. Ayodhya, there was a rally conducted of Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister, and then we saw the spendthrift government there spending crores on conducting one rally from the railway, the sanctions of the railway. So you talk about economics, you talk about bad economics in what Mr. Reddy said. I would also like to know, what do you think of the economics where railway sanctioned budget is being spent on a rally of the Prime Minister going to Ayodhya? I would just close with that. I would just provoke your
20 seconds, Dr. Islam.
What Mr.
The rally of the Prime Minister is separate, ma'am. I think the Congress has enough to worry about, and so does the BJP. It's better to focus on your own. But Dr. Islam, go ahead.
See, if you really want to do a back testing of the way Honorable Prime Minister has made the announcement and manage his budget, he's always focused on cutting revenue expenditure, increasing capital expenditure, and whatever saving he has, he will use it for the welfare of the people. This is what he has done. That's why, if you see the fiscal prudence, fiscal deficit is coming off, capital expenditure is going up, and all the other.
All right. Okay. With that, I need to close the bulletin. What we did was a political debate, because there's been enough political commentary, and there needs to be a larger economic debate, which has happened, and ultimately underlying only one fact, that we don't really have to look far. We saw with what went down in Sri Lanka. We really need to figure out what's going on in various states across the country, and that cuts across party lines.